across the fence, we have important news for all Vermont farmers. The newly expanded Farm First program is now serving all categories of farmers in Vermont, whether they're producing milk, vegetables, fruits, or livestock. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. For the past 5 years, the Farm First program has been an important resource for Vermont farmers and their families. Specifically, the program has helped dairy farmers with personal, family, and work-related concerns and issues. The farm families continuing to face significant economic and weather-related challenges, and the state's largest employee assistance program is expanding Farm First's free and flexible services to include all types of farm families who offer so much to our economy and our communities. To begin our focus on the Farm First program, I'm joined by Vermont's Secretary of Agriculture, Chuck Ross. It's great to have you. Thanks for coming
Judy.
in.
Great to be here.
To begin our focus on Farm First, let's talk a little bit about a brief overview of the state of agriculture in Vermont today.
Well, things are going pretty well right now. We've had a very diverse agricultural community and economy. We've been seeing great local agriculture. We've been watching food exported from the state of Vermont, which has been our history. And most importantly, the real economic power engine in the state, our dairy economy, has been doing very well with really good dairy prices in the last year or so. However, we're headed into, as we see, a very tough weather climate today, and we're heading into a pretty tough economic climate for dairying with dropping milk prices. So I expect that we're going to see some more stress within that dairy community, and that can translate to greater agriculture as well.
Well, with that overview, we're going to focus on the Farm First program. When did Farm First come about?
You know, it's a program we started back in 2009 when we were really in the heart of the last dairy depression, and dairy farmers were really under an enormous amount of stress because the price just wasn't covering their cost, and the forecast didn't look good. And when these dairy farmers who work in really isolated situations oftentimes were confronting a lot of different problems, from business-related problems to relationship problems to just the psychological burden of running a big operation that isn't making money.
And so what does Farm First provide for these folks?
It provides access to what is an equivalent of an employee assistance program, with counseling and services. So they have somebody to talk to, they can reach out to, they can help them network with the support services that are out there, whether it be a business-related problem, a relationship issue, or just the stress of being outside 12 hours a day, and then having to come in and try to figure out how to get your book work done and then go back out there and do it again, when sometimes, as we've seen in the past, the prices don't always enable you to run a business as profitably as you'd like.
And let's just talk a little bit about just some of the issues that farmers face. I mean, on top of, as you were saying, working all day, then they've got to come in and handle everything else that happens in life as well. And I think when that's your normal, it's hard to see beyond that there is help available.
That's right. And, you know, the dairy farmers and the other farmers are often finding themselves working by themselves for hours and hours and days. They don't have that network of people at work that they can go talk to. They can spend 5 or 6 hours in a tractor and then have to come in and go right into the barn to milk, or have to get right after something else. And they don't have that support network, they don't have that access, they don't have the structure that some of us do when we talk about things at work that is actually really important. The Farm First program is a phone call away. It enables a farmer to pick up the phone and say, boy, I get problems with this or that. Can you help me? Have any advice for me? And sometimes that's all they need, and other times it's just another phone call away where they can get professional help on an issue. And those things can be, you know, bookkeeping. It can be trying to figure out the family transition, where they have to deal with a lot of complicated family interrelationships. It can be that they've had an accident on the farm or a critical incident. You know, somebody has died on the farm, or they've had a roof fall in because of a snow load. All those things are critical problems for them that can compromise their ability to get the job done. And when you're by yourself, or with just you, your partner, wife, or son or daughter that's helping you out, that is oftentimes not enough of a network to really cope with the problems.
We should mention it's a 24-hour toll-free hotline. It's 1-877-493-6216. That's 877 1-877-493-6216. And as we give you a chance to write that number down, Secretary Ross can help explain who pays for the Farm First program.
The Farm First program is paid by the Agency of Agriculture and the Agency of Human Service, and it's been a collaborative effort across two agencies to provide critical resources for this working landscape, economy, and community with the kinds of services the Agency of Human Services is particularly well positioned and get good experience to provide.
Well, joining us now is Myra Handy. Myra is a social worker and the program manager for Farm First. She is with the largest Vermont-based employee assistance program called Invest EAP. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So some Vermonters have an employee assistance program in their workplace, but for those who aren't familiar with it, what is that?
Employee assistance programs serve people in the workplaces, and in this case through Farm First with the farmers, with personal, family, and professional concerns that will help them keep their mind on their job and keep focused on their work. Employee assistance programs are known to increase a sense of well-being and productivity in the workplaces and on the farms, and known to decrease stress and injuries. So the reasons people would call us have to do with disability or injury, needing help with preventing problems like that, and marital and parenting problems, multiple generations having conflict or how to make decisions on the farm and wanting to know how to talk with each other on the farm, elder care, child care questions, financial or legal concerns. Anything that's a concern to the employee or for an employee assistance program for the employee, or for Farm First for the farm owners and family members, is something that our Farm First program can help with.
Well, as we mentioned, you've expanded the Farm First to include all types of farmers. So how much is this program now being used?
It's still being used just about the same as it was last year, the year before, which is very consistent use by farmers. And now we're getting some farmers other than dairy calling us, people who have vegetable and or beef farms, pork, chicken. But that said, we could serve many, many more farmers than we do have calling us. So we're doing a pretty big promotional campaign right now to get the word out to all farmers.
So what's the first step that a Vermont farm family needs to take to access Farm First?
They just have to pick up the phone and call 1-877. When I'm on the television, I forget the number, so if the
it's 493-6216. And there's also a website as well.
Yes, there is.
How does Farm First work with Vermont farmers?
The farmer themselves will usually call, but sometimes a concerned family member, a neighbor down the road, or a service provider through UVM Extension or the Agency of Agriculture might call with a concern that a family's going through something that possibly Farm First could help with, because Farm First is an on-ramp to services, and we really help people with the people issues on the farms, which is kind of a new service for farmers in Vermont. They've had a lot of technical assistance, and we're here to help with people and kind of emotional issues, or farmers having problems with the employees on the farm. So our staff consists of both rehab counselors, mental health counselors, and resource counselors. And farmers will call us and we'll get them connected to the right service for what their problem is.
Do you get calls too where farmers are thinking about, I'm not sure what the problem is, but this just isn't working?
Right, yes. They will call, and they might be feeling depressed or anxious about something, or losing sleep at night, having insomnia, and we can help them get to the bottom of what that problem is.
Judy, it's so critical that a farmer get those kind of services, and so they can focus on their work and they're well rested, because every day many of these farmers are going out and dealing with very dangerous situations. When you're around livestock, big livestock, there's risk there. When you're dealing with power equipment, we have power takeoffs. If you're not focused for just a second, you can have a debilitating injury or even risk being killed on the farm. And so sleep and having a mental focus is absolutely critical to being able to run a farm well.
Well, I would imagine, when I leave work, I leave work. I go home and I leave work behind.
Right.
But you can't do that if you're on a farm.
No. We've had farmers call who've fallen asleep on their tractors while they were haying. And a farmer who was worried about family problems crashed his tractor. So these are things that it's just really important to call so that we can help them deal with how to prevent that from happening in the future.
Are farmers hesitant to ask for help?
Probably. I think Chuck could speak to that, but I think just one thing that I do know is that they're used to being self-employed and not having any benefits handed to them, so they're not used to thinking of calling for help for personal issues.
You know, they're an independent lot, and they're used to being self-reliant. So the notion that they got to call somebody else to help them with a problem isn't necessarily a part of their natural way of doing things. And so it's really important for all of us to help them understand that there are services out there and it's okay. And sometimes that is the spouse, sometimes it's the son or daughter, and sometimes it's the neighbor or even the service provider that says, boy, that farmer is under a lot of stress because I know of X, Y, and Z that they're having to deal with. And it, you know, a phone call and just a conversation, it can open the door to a whole bunch of services that can alleviate a lot of problems on the farm.
So I think it's another really business tool for farmers.
It is a business tool, and you know, we talk about financial services, and we talk about technical assistance, and we talk about managing our physical assets. This is a human asset that we're talking about managing, and it's really important that we understand that's part of the toolbox of running any business like a farm.
Because there are complicated issues when it's not only just the farm and maybe some employees, but also family members involved in the business as well.
Yeah, and you know, there's nothing more rewarding and sometimes nothing more challenging than managing a family business where you have all those interpersonal dynamics. Plus, oh, by the way, you got to work 14, 16 hours, and you're dealing with difficult, dangerous equipment or difficult animals that can pose a real risk. You need to be focused, you need to be well rested, and you need to have things well organized in your head in order to run that business well.
And so, Mara, can you give me some real life examples in which Farm First has helped some folks?
Yes, so we have helped people who've had accidents on farms because of stress, and we will get them into counseling to help them talk about, you know, sort of tease those issues apart and address the different things. It might be relationship stress or a substance abuse issue, things like that. We've really helped some farmers significantly with issues like that. They're with a substance abuse addiction problem on a farm. We helped the different members of the family get these services they needed so that they could stay intact while people were working through these issues. And these are such very private problems that they, as Chuck said, they're usually things that people never would have thought to call about before. But I get calls year after year thanking me for getting people connected. And for us, this is what we do every day, all day long. We help people with these issues. And we just figure these are part of living and part of working in a family business. We really want to get people the help they need. In terms of what we've done, we've also I helped a woman who had to do jury duty. And she was the only one working on the farm because her spouse was ill. She couldn't get away from the farm. So helped navigate the system so that she could be alleviated of that jury duty, and also looked for labor to help her on the farm. And we've facilitated family meetings a lot with members of families who are in conflict about how to progress on the farm, maybe a sibling group who didn't know how to navigate these hard, kind of emotionally laden issues about who's going to get what on the farm.
Yeah, and a related subject too, I want to mention that NOFA
Yeah.
Vermont is going to soon be running a series of in-depth human resource training for farmers, and Farm First is involved with that.
Yes, we're not helping them with the trainings, but we back them up by providing management consultations to farmers about any kind of conflict or problem that they're having on the farm with employees.
Which is really important. So going forward, where does Farm First go from here, Chuck?
Well, you know, we're heading into what I'm afraid is going to be a difficult time in the dairy community. We're going to continue to provide these services, work with the agency, Human Service, to make sure these services are retained and advanced. You know, farming is one of the top 10 most dangerous occupations in the country. And farmers are an independent lot. They don't have these EAPs at work because work is at the farm.
Right.
And so we hope to continue this program, provide these critical services to this critical part of our economy and, frankly, our community. This is the working landscape we're talking about. Farmers and our loggers and foresters are really the ones that are stewarding most of the land in this state. So we hope to be able to continue to help them.
Let's put that phone number up again, too, and the contact information, just so folks can jot it down. It's 1-877-493-6216. As you said, it's a great on-ramp for folks who are looking for some help.
Thank you.
Thanks to both of you for joining us. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.